Welcome to another segment where we get to talk to some members of our parliament, get opinions from them, and know how it has been in this journey of the parliament generally. And today with me is an honorable member I look up to so much. I admire his work, and he's someone I've been trying to get across to. Actually, it's one of my New Year resolution this year that I will get across to you this year. And I was really happy when I saw you yesterday. I see, immediately I came in, I saw you, I was like, wonder, this has to be God's divine intervention. I'm telling you, miracles, they say, is to happen. So thank you for joining us. Here with me is Honorable Mohammed Oyankin. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's just start off briefly, and I want to get to know, how did you venture into politics? I did a little documentary about young members of parliament, and I noticed that this guy is actually just 26 in politics, and not just 26 in politics, but the deputy speaker of the national state. How did you get there? What motivated you? What stirred you up into getting into such position, and not just getting there at such tender age, but getting to the position of the deputy speaker?
Some people say they are accidental politicians. I am no accidental politician.
Okay.
I think I am a destined politician, and I've tried my best to be within the corridors of power and in power at the moment. I can just tell you, God, I joined politics by the grace of God, and leadership is something I have passion for. If you want to make a change, you have to be at a particular position to be able to make that change. And I think politics is a vehicle I think I am using to drive to change. So I joined politics by the grace of God. Even my background as a young man in school, I've been a politician. And today, by the grace of God, I am the Deputy Speaker of Nasarawa State House of Assembly. I won my election at a very good age by the grace of the not too young to run, driven by my very dear friends in the AGA. And then today, by the grace of God, I am here, and we are here. And God has answered one of your New Year resolutions.
Certainly. Yeah. So, as a youth in politics, what are some hurdles you faced getting into, this position you are? Because you see lots of youth, and there's been lots of complaint. The old people are in power. You can't get way into politics and all that. So, what are some of these hurdles you faced? How did you overcome these challenges? And you got into this position you are today. What challenges did you face, and how did you overcome them?
Definitely, there are challenges like discrimination. Usually when you see a young man in power, you tend to have that ideology that because he's young, then he might be proud, or because he's young, he might not be competent, or because he's young, inexperienced. So it's not like that. Wisdom is from God. Not age is just a number. It's not how old you are. But definitely, these discriminations like incompetence, inexperience, too young, those challenges I've faced, and by the grace of God, I've overcome them. As a politician, you need to be able to speak with power. You need to be able to tell your electorate, I can do this.
Certainly.
And you should not bite more than you can chew. Because if you tell them you can do this, you cannot afford not to do that. So by the grace of God, I've been able to try my best. Even though during my campaigns, I barely made promises, and every promise I know I made, I took it upon myself to be able to accomplish it, which by the grace of God at the moment, in my agenda, I have brought for my constituents. Imagine people telling you to buy machines for them, to buy cars for them. Development is more than that.
Okay.
But I think that is what is left now in my constituency.
How were you able to win election without making promises? I promise I would do this, but at the end of the day, how were you able to win an election without promises?
What I was able to do was, I happened to come from a family that has helped.
Okay.
Long before now, we've helped. So I wrote on the family name Oyanki.
Okay.
I wrote on the family name, and individually, whenever I go to campaign, if I go to a community that have this particular problem, I assure them their problems will be solved immediately before I come for the next campaign. So somebody that is doing that and is telling you, I'm not going to promise you because I don't know what I'm going to make there. But one thing I assured them is I'm going to have the fear of God. And every human, when you tell him you're going to have the fear of God, and when they see your efforts, and like I told you, I wrote on the family name Oyanki.
Okay.
What the name I have already put on ground. It really, really helped. And I know I come from a family I cannot afford to rubbish. So they will not allow me rubbish the name. They've taken so much time, so much years to build. So I think that alone is a wake-up call for me. Whenever I want to forget myself, I remember where I'm coming from. I cannot afford to disappoint them.
Were your parents disciplinarians? Were they serious? Were they high-handed?
Yeah, my mother was a disciplinarian. She's still a disciplinarian, because even at this moment, my mother will want to open her eye for the
Despite your position or not?
Yeah, she doesn't care about that. That's my business. But then my father was more liberal.
Okay.
He was a very liberal father and really helped a lot. What I'm riding on is discipline. But what gave me more confidence is he gave me sense of responsibility at a very young age. He doesn't believe about age. I come from a family of 10. One of my sisters are late. A family of 11 now. We're 11.
Okay.
And by the grace of God, one is late. We're now 10. And I'm the third to the last born. Okay. I have 2 younger sisters. So I think from the family I come from, there's discipline and there's some sort of, not indiscipline perhaps, but there's some sort of an understanding.
Okay.
Constructive criticism, constructive debate, which gave me so much confidence, which has really helped me a lot in working. I have been in level of administration, level of authority at a very young age. So it's not just a 27-year-old man you're seeing. It's a 27-year-old expert you're seeing. Yes.
So let's talk about the parliament now. Now, they say the parliament has 3 roles.
Yeah.
1 is representation, 2, making of laws, which actually should be number 1, and 3 is the oversight of the executive arm of government. But if you've noticed, people tend to refer to the legislature as rubber stamp. And it's just a general notion that most Nigerians have about the legislature. Rubber stamp. It's just they say it's an annex of the executive. Whatever the executive says, scales. And honestly, let's be very realistic. It has always looked like that. You know, we've not seen a very strong legislature which will be able to hold the executive arm of government accountable. So to you, do you think the legislature is really independent? And if not, what effective ways can we use to actually help to really create for more independence for the legislature?
I'm glad you actually say people think. So even in the court of law, if it's something you're thinking about, then you're not sure or you don't know. But people have to understand there is what we refer to as separation of powers. Mm-hmm. Separation of power is a relationship between the executive, legislative, and judiciary. So we work interchangeably. So however people want to think, of course, you are entitled to your own opinion. Mm-hmm. But to clear the light that we are not a rubber stamp of the executive arm of government is because our processes don't even tally. People want us to always be fighting what the government wants. That is when they think people are working. But governance is not about that. It is not going to be good for Nigerians or any country if the arms of government are in conflict. Yes, checkmating them, that is the essence of oversight. That is why we have oversight. If as a lawmaker, you chair a committee and you're not overseeing them well, that does not make the whole institution a bad institution. Oh. And yes, there are confirmations. Just recently, some ministers in the list of the president, not all the ministers passed.
True. That's true.
Is that not enough to show you that there is checkmating? There's a level to which we can checkmate. Just recently, I saw the public account issued warrants for the IGP. I threatened to issue warrant. The Committee on Public Account, chaired by Senator Ahmad Ali Wadada.
Yes.
Senator representing Nasarawa West.
Yes.
They threatened to issue some arrest warrants
yes.
for the IGP, FIRS, and some other parastatals. That is enough level to show you it's not rubber stamp, we're not working together. And the PAC, Public Account Committee, is the committee saddled with the responsibility of overseeing what happens financially with the government, in the government. Every financial expenditure of the government, the public account has a right to check it. And Section 127, 128, and 129 has empowered us to invite whoever, the Constitution says whoever. These are one of our constitutional responsibilities we're exercising. So I don't know when people say rubber stamp out of ignorance.
We've seen times where the National Assembly would invite somebody and the person will not come. I made a documentary about the National Hajj Commission, and they invited the man the first time, he refused to come. Invited him again, refused to come. They now asked him, okay, pick a date, you will come and explain what happened to so amount of money. And that very day they picked again, he didn't come. It was until they had to call and start threatening him on the phone before he actually appeared. So don't you really think with all this here and there that there isn't much power? The executive doesn't really, see much power, or the legislature doesn't really bite at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, where is the former chairman of the Hajj Commission now?
Well,
so you see, he's no longer the chairman. So there's a level to which we can do these things. We cannot. What the instance you would have even given me, which I would have been comfortable, was with the former custom boss Hamid Ali.
That's another exactly.
Insisted on he wearing a uniform and he did not wear the uniform. But now, what have the National Assembly do? There's a SEMA or Custom Act, which a non-career custom officer cannot be the CGC of custom.
Yes.
So you see, all these things, we have our way around it. At the end of the day, this person that flaunted the invitation of the National Assembly, where is he now? He's no longer the Hajj Commission boss. Now, the Hamid Ali has brought a situation where, by the resolution of the House, by a law of the National Assembly, the custom cannot have a non-career custom officer. So somebody that doesn't wear uniform cannot be in charge of the custom. So at the end of the day, the legislature and institution will always take the credit. So you see, some of these things, they take time. There are processes. We cannot force, we cannot fight, we cannot... because we need to work together interchangeably to honor. And you cannot just refuse to come. Some they might have reasons, but if you intentionally refuse to come, of course, like this threat of issuing an arrest warrant on the IGP is the Constitution. And the Constitution has said whether police, army, any security operative, the legislature have the right to direct them to bring whoever is in question to the House. Let's see how this public account invitation unfolds. Well, then we'll talk better on that.
Let's see about that. Now, there are lots of misconceptions about the National Assembly. Now, if you had to pick one misconception you want to disabuse people's mind about, what's one misconception about the Parliament will you want to clear people's mind about? Okay, this is not actually as it is, or this is not actually the way you guys think it actually is.
Let me talk about the subnational level as a state lawmaker.
Yes.
One misconception people have is they are just giving us money. Every entitlement of a lawmaker is a public document with the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission. If you feel there's excess money, check the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission website. Where is the excess money? Where is the money that are given to us and are not given? And somebody will come and want to challenge you on your own salary. Salary are personal entitlements, which out of your own discretion, you can do however you want to do with it. But even on your salary, somebody is talking. My salary is about 500,000 naira. But somebody will talk as if...
Is this plus or minus the allowances and other things?
I'm speaking about salary.
Okay, just basic salary.
My basic salary is about 500,000.
But if we add allowances...
If you add allowances, how much is it? It is a public document, like I rightly said. You check it on the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission.
But you cannot tell us now.
You should check it there. You see it there. My allowances, you see, some of these things, that is the misconception. Because, okay, is Deputy Speaker, it's not like that. I don't want to talk about it here. But check on the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission. It is a public document that everybody can check from your smartphone here. You can even check it here while we are talking and you see it. So, as an interviewer, I know you have enough information. So you should check it and we'll talk about that.
I will find out and get back to you. So, now, corruption is one major problem we have in this nation. And sometime, I believe last year or last 2 years, there was a motion on the floor of the National Assembly that there should be a death penalty for corrupt government officials. So to you, do you think this measure, do you think this motion is something that could actually turn around corruption in Nigeria or reduce the state of corruption in Nigeria generally?
In some countries, in some Asian countries, there are death penalties for corrupt government officials because these are taxpayers' money. Certainly. People suffer to pay taxes. And it should not be fair to people paying taxes. One person should just sit down somewhere and squander the money. That is why when people... For instance, this web subsidy remover. Some people are angry about president's removal of the fuel subsidy. But when you look at the corruption behind fuel subsidy, the impact or the influence it has on the government, now with the removal of fuel subsidy, state subventions have increased, state allocations have increased. So it's a win. It's a win. It is now left for state governors to do their best. I know my own state, ASULA, is doing its best. Therefore, other states also emulate from Engineer Abdullah ACD in Nasarawa State.
Well, let's hope we'll see more development because lots of people have been saying, they've removed fuel subsidy, but we can't see the evidence that it has been put into place yet.
Let me give you an instance in the capital, in Abuja. All these roads that I see, if not because of things like fuel subsidy removal, where would they have gotten the money to do more of these things that is helping us? Traffic has drastically reduced in Abuja.
So do you think it's past ministers that didn't perform so well in Abuja? It is because they didn't have enough funds?
Other ministers have performed, some have not performed, but Wike is performing.
Okay.
Yes.
So he's performing because the fuel subsidy has been removed and there's more money now.
He's performing because he has more resources. Definitely, if Wike doesn't have money, he cannot do what he's doing.
Okay.
So however you want to put it, whether from fuel subsidy removal or what, but I know fuel subsidy removal is one of the reasons why we have more money in the country, and we have, because fuel subsidy has been a scam. You are going to import more, petrol, and they are going to charge 10 times on one single import, which is not fair. 5-10 times on one single import, which is not fair. But now that there is no subsidy, government will not subsidize the rate. Other things are going. What I feel we should talk about is, let's look at infrastructural development. Now, the president is really fighting food insecurity. Every single state have received so much money for farm implements, for farm inputs. In Nasarawa State, just late last year, the vice president came to commission some more tractors for every local government in Nasarawa State with seedlings. That is how we did ours. And there are some bonuses, signature bonuses that local governments have received. And the governor has advised, because the local governments are independent, but the governor has advised, you can use this for agriculture. Yes. Fighting food security is number one. If you have food, other things will come in as secondary. So fuel subsidy, with the refineries working in place, I think we're going to try and find a balance in fuel. And even with the fuel subsidy, after the fuel subsidy removal, the president has really been trying with the issue of CNG, which is a cheaper source of energy.
A lot of people have complained that CNG hasn't been very effective yet. They can't find. I even heard the story of a gas station in Abuja where there has been trucks will line up for days, yet can't get CNG entirely. And right now, I think the vibe for CNG has just dropped. So, what do you think could be the cause of this, General? Or do you foresee what I'm saying?
We Nigerians don't trust. Sometimes, with all due respect to Nigerians, we don't trust some things. CNG has been in countries like China as far back as 10 years ago. Now they are even in electrical. Even these electrical cars, how many Nigerians trust electrical cars? You and I here, do you trust electrical car will serve your purpose? You understand?
That's
so
true.
we need to trust some of these things.
But don't you think that's because the government hasn't been very open with people?
About CNG?
Generally about everything.
My brother, the presidential initiative on CNG has been more than enough. There has been so much advertisement. My brother Khalil and Naseni, they are doing the conversion. They are trying their best. We have conversion stations here in Nigeria, in Abuja. We have them in states. We have CNG stations. For instance, the CNG station that will serve North Central, Greenville, which was in partnership with Nasarawa State, is in Nasarawa State. It's just before Lafia. So some of these things, if you don't pay attention to it, you keep arguing. You just be arguing blindly. You don't know. CNG is real. Even some politicians have converted their cars to CNG.
Have you converted yours?
Yes, my own too is CNG.
You're using CNG?
Yes,
that's really
CNG.
nice. Okay, let's look at Nasarawa State now. You talked about the fact that there's more allocation now, so Abuja is getting better. The Minister of FCT has a lot to work with now. This might not basically be your own local government, but I think it's something, because it's a place I've lived in that area. Looking at Karu local government, basically Maraba. Now, Maraba is a densely populated area, and I believe the National State government receive a lot of revenue from Maraba, Karu local government,
Definitely.
basically. But you go to Maraba, I'm very, very honest with you, there are no good roads in Maraba. You go inside, nothing really present. There's nothing to really show that there's government presence in Maraba, that's Karu local government. All you see basically are just plazas. And you go to Maraba Junction now, massive traffic, serious traffic. And it has become a den for criminals, because there was a day I was going home, so a friend of mine, she was driving home, and people jumped into her car, took her bag away, right inside the traffic there. So what is the National State government doing to help this? Look at the road coming from Abuja. It stopped at the boundary between Nasarawa and Abuja. It couldn't get into Nasarawa because they said there are plazas on the road, and more plazas are still springing up. So how is the National State government trying to salvage this situation, or how can they salvage this situation?
Thank you very much for bringing this curry issue, because it is an issue I'm really working on. In fact, at some point, you would notice we deployed some members of the Nigerian army to bring...
that's a long time. They've gone.
Yeah, they come and go. It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. Exactly.
At some point again, we bought the NUD, Nasarawa State Urban Development Board, to do it. usually or initially it was the NUDB that was in charge of the whole thing in Karu. But now there's an agency in Nasarawa, say Greater Karu, that just came into place last year to show you we are working towards something. And the Nasarawa State Governor has visited the FCT Minister with regards to see how we can get a train system from Abuja to... Because what we should understand is the major residents, the major staff, workforce in Abuja residing
in Nasarawa,
in
Karu local government.
Government.
That's true.
The workforce. So it is not only Nasarawa State Government. What we should be asking is, what is the capital? What is the FCT doing? And ASLA has reached out to FCT. How can you help us? We're waiting to see what the FCT will do. But bringing an agency like Greater Karu, Nasarawa State Urban Development Board, I really try and engineer with that, my friend. He's really trying his best in NUDB to see how allocations. In fact, the Chairman House Committee on NUDB, Honorable Musa Saidu Gudi, happens to be the member representing Uke Karshi, which is a local government in Karu.
Yes.
So he is somebody that is local. To see how, these reasons why we give somebody like that, this is somebody that stays in Karshi. This is somebody that's always in Karu. He has family in Mararaba. So he will see what is happening every day. But to honestly tell you, the issues we're having on the Mararaba axis is basically those petty traders on the road are not ready to go into the market.
The international market.
And that international market, Nasarawa State government built it. If you're going to pack people by force, another problem.
So
we have built a market. People don't want to go into the market. People prefer to sell on the road. And you and I know, as Nigerians, we prefer to get a car quickly on the road. It's discipline we need in this thing. Because we have an agency, Greater Karu. We have the Nasarawa State Urban Development Board. Sometimes they go as far as employing thugs to help them fight thugs. You understand? Because logically, you have a market. Go into the market and sell. You said, no, you want to sell on the road. The reason why we have traffic there is because of the sellers on the road.
But so is this problem has defied solution?
No. The issue of road you mentioned, the Minister of Works were with the Minister of Works sometime last year in Lafia with this new super highway.
Yes. 6
lanes with train. They've agreed to complete the Kefi Abuja route. If you go farther than Karu now, the road is coming from Kefi. So we're going to have a road till Abuja. The traffic you see at Sharp Corner, at that area, no Zenith Bank, they're going to address the potholes there. And when they address the potholes there, and people go into Karu Market, we'll have a solution. Because now, even in our initiative, we have the Nasarawa State Technology Village, which is in Gurku. We are trying to see how we're going to push residents, let people go back inside. They've linked the road to Gurku, is going to connect to Gitata through the back. So, my brother, Nasarawa State government, we're doing our best to see how we can. It is just something that cannot just happen one day. But Greater Karu is an initiative by Engineer Abdullahi Esule to work. The Nasarawa State Technology Village is an initiative by Engineer Abdullahi Esule, vehicled by my dear brother Ibrahim Abdullahi at the Nasarawa State Investment and Development Agency. But if the federal capital are ready to look at us and also help us in helping ourselves, Nasarawa State, we have so much on the table already. We have so much we're doing. For instance, if this train we're able to achieve this train, let's say we're going to get a train from AYA to, let's say, Masaka.
Okay.
At every hour.
Yes.
People will no longer use their car. It's going to definitely decongest that route.
Well, let's hope that there will be change very soon, though.
Yes, let's hope the federal capital will support us in
so without the help of the federal capital territory, there's no... Basically,
no, I told you we have Greater Karu, which we're also working on the blueprint. We're trying to see how we can create a city, maybe a new Karishi city that will push people inside. And what we need is an alternative access to the capital.
Exactly, that is just what I wanted to
say. Access to the capital. Federal government does roads like that. The South government don't have, currently. A.A. Sule is one of the only governors in Nigeria at the moment that has requested for expansion of federal roads. In Akwanga now, he just got an approval for expansion of roads, which he's doing. Shandam Road is a federal road. He got an approval and he has done that. So we in Nasarawa State are already seeing how we can help. The current underpass he's constructing in Nasarawa State, about 17 billion naira. It is because of the alternative road he has been able to achieve at the Shandam Road that people can now come through Shandam Road to connect to Makurdi. If not, how will they have connected?
So, let's leave federal roads alone now. Let's look at some internal roads in Maraba.
Yes.
Now, I applied this Maraba road down to City College. I don't know if you know the place.
I know.
And that road
That is the Old Karu Road.
Old Karu Road. And that road has been bad since time immemorial. If it rains on that road, it's a no-go area. You understand? So what is the government going to do? There's a road they started doing within Royal Dream area. They just did it halfway and they stopped halfway. Nothing again since last year. Nothing has been done. And several other roads. We are not even asking for the major express now. That's the government road. What is the state government doing on the small roads inside Karu local government?
Thank you very much. I happen to be the chairman of House Committee on Project Monitoring and Budget Implementation. This road you mentioned, I am supposed to have an oversight by next week. I'm going to start an oversight. I've issued some invitations.
The Old Karu Road?
No, I'm building I've issued some invitations to some agencies to come and defend so far what they have done. What contractor have been awarded that contract? How much has been disbursed? What is the time phase of the project? Some of these projects are abandoned because of funding, and some are abandoned because of monitoring. So thank you very much for telling me about this route. Some of them I'll go and check. But I can categorically tell you that on Old Karu Road, there is another road that has gone through to Karu Modern Market.
That's the back of, yes.
It's not a government road. You understand? So it cannot happen one day. But we are going there. But trust me, the Nasarawa State government has an issue, has an agenda on seeing how we can make Karu great again. That is why we brought in an agency like Greater Karu. And we're really working on that. Roads like that, I cannot promise you, but I can assure you, we'll try our best. But I assure you this, by the grace of God, this road you mentioned, this Royal Dim Road, I will personally visit that road.
Please do.
With principal officers of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly and understand what is the problem on that road.
Okay. Now, let's go back to the parliament. There's something that has been happening in the parliament that to me shouldn't be. Now, during ministerial screening, and I believe commissioner screening at the state level, they just come without a portfolio. And I noticed from the last ministerial screening, people are just asked random questions. You just come, we don't know where they were assigned you to. So they just ask random questions. Sometimes at the end of the day, they ask you questions that are outside what you'll be actually allocated to. Don't you think government or the federal government, the executive arm of government should endeavor to give commissioners and ministers portfolios so that when they are coming to the parliament, you as parliamentarians know what you are asking these guys. Okay, this is about this. Okay, we know that you're the Minister of Foreign Affairs. How well can you handle our foreign affairs as a nation? We know that you're a Minister of Economy and this and that. Don't you think the executive or how do you think as members of parliament you can actually help salvage this situation?
Yeah, what you said makes sense, but on the other hand, or what is happening at the moment, you see, there are some things you say you learn on the job. You as a lawmaker, before you become a lawmaker or before you chair a house committee, you don't even know you're going to be a lawmaker or not, or you're going to chair what committee. What you should be able to have is a skill of being an administrator. If governors are not expert, not all governors are experts in education. Some are accountants, some are architects, like my own is an engineer, but he's working in health. He's helping in the health sector, not just roads in Nasarawa State. My governor is one expert in investment. Nasarawa State is now an investment hub. Credit to Engineer A. Sule's drive. But Engineer A. Sule is not an economist he is an engineer. So if you are a fine administrator, whatever portfolio you are saddled with, is going to you are going to deliver there. But like you rightly said, executive, and I happen to be a lawmaker. You want us to make a law to go to the executive to give portfolios before they come?
Exactly.
I think that is we'll take that into consideration. But I don't think it's really necessary. If you're an expert administrator, you can serve in every capacity. What did you study in the university?
Computer science and information technology.
But today you're in the mass media communication.
It's still computer science now. There's still computer science related to it.
Yeah. And I also studied computer science.
And you're in parliament.
And I'm a parliamentarian.
Well, anybody can be a parliamentarian.
And I'm the chairman of House Committee on Project Monitoring and Budget Evaluation. Although I'm an expert, I'm an expert in project manager. I'm a professional project manager because I have an MBA in project management.
Okay.
So maybe that is enough knowledge for me to...
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, I hope something is being done about that. Now, Let's go back to your party, political party. Yesterday, a member of the National Assembly, Senator Ned Nwoko, decamped from PDP into APC, stating that the party has been plagued with lots of crises here and there. Do you still foresee a future in PDP even in the next election if this crisis continues?
As far as I am concerned, as far as we know, there's opposition in Nigeria. And PDP is the strongest opposition we've had in Nigeria at the moment since losing election in 2015 till date. PDP is the strongest opposition.
They've done a better job than Labour Party.
Of course, even in the number of seats we have at the National Assembly, the number of votes we've had in the last election, we'll answer that question. PDP is definitely better than the obedient. Yes.
So you can never be an obedient?
No, not that I can never be.
You don't foresee yourself being an obedient, even if tomorrow...
No, I'm a politician. So if going to Labour Party will allow me win election, why not?
Certain. So there's hope.
There's hope, definitely hope in opposition.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Let's watch and see, though. Let's watch and see. So, as a young politician, how do you inspire other young, upcoming people, young ones that want to also get into politics? What encouragement do you give to them to help them get into politics, just as you've done?
Discipline. They have to be disciplined. Because you see me today driving a Mercedes or with security, you just want to join politics to do that. It's not about that. You did not know my journey there. You did not know what I put in to arrive there. You did not know what I sacrificed to be here. So you have to look beyond what you see. There is more to it. But if you're disciplined financially and however, in all these things, it is really, really going to go a long way for politicians. And then if you want to lead people, you have to be ready to lead by example, which involves discipline too. You have to be decent and all these things. You cannot go to the club and come back very late in the morning and then you want to lead people. How would you wake up the next morning to go? And what will you tell them? You have to study. You have to. For instance, some of your questions, if I'm not equipped, I will not be able to quote sections of the Constitution for you, which I'm not a lawyer. But it says I go to the Constitution. Constitution is our Bible and Quran in the house. That's what we refer to them because they are guiding principles in the house. So you just have to think outside of the box. You have to study and you have to pray to God.
All right, so rounding up now. I believe sometime again last 2 years thereabout, a senator raised a motion to regulate social media in Nigeria, seeing the way it is right now. So do you also subscribe to the opinion that social media should be regulated, knowing that a large chunk of the youths are actually on this social media and they've been using it to speak up against lots of ills in the government here and there? So do you think, but despite the fact that they're speaking up against the ills, we know that there are still some problems here and there arising here and there. So do you think there should be regulation on the Nigerian social media?
Let me talk about something that is very, very important. Very, very important. You see, we Nigerians sometimes want to criticize. Some people are using that social media to make money. But certainly, us in Nigeria, we're using that social media to cause problem. Regulation is good in every world.
There are people using it to make money in Nigeria too.
But the regulation is good in every world. For instance, China. China has TikTok, but you don't use TikTok in China. Regulations might not be limiting people to what they say. Regulations can restrict people to our own environment to help ourselves. Me and you now are computer scientists. How many programs have you been able to develop since after you have finished your...
I'm not developing a program.
And you see, WhatsApp is developed by somebody that studied computer science. Twitter, Facebook, the Mark Zuckerbergs and what have you, they have made money on this social media we are using to fight. They are using it to make money. Why don't we as Nigerians regulate ourselves, confine ourselves to make a better use? The regulations are not to limit criticism. Of course, we're in a democratic system.
Exactly.
We're open for constructive criticism. But the regulations are to turn our directions to make a better use of the social media, not to restrict. Why wouldn't you criticize the government? Nobody has stopped anybody from criticizing the government. People criticize the government. People go as far as even mocking. In fact, people go as far as what do you call it? Defamation.
Correct.
But how many politicians have? Yes, some don't tolerate it.
Exactly.
But others tolerate it. People have gone as far as that. And defamation of character is not fair. Cyberbullying is not fair. So these limitations are to issues like cyberbullying, defamation, but not to if you are doing a constructive criticism, wherever you're taking to, you can defend yourself. The worst they will take you is to court. Because no law enforcement agency have the right to detain somebody for more than 24 to 48 hours.
Yes.
24 hours. No law enforcement agency have that right. If you are doing something, you know you don't have a lawyer to defend you, then you are on your own. You understand? So when you
certainly
understand these things, you do it better. But regulations, I support regulations to help us help ourselves in the social media, not to restrict people from accessing the social media.
So, have you been a victim of maybe defamation of character and social media?
One boy tried that with me, but I didn't even pay attention to it.
So you just let that slide?
He was just, the law enforcement agencies have the right to invite anybody when they understand he's trying to cause civil unrest.
Yeah.
So my own issue as a deputy speaker, of course, there is a level to which my activities are monitored. The security agencies, for my own safety, also check my activities. And in fact, my own, it was alleged I arrested him. Even though if they come to arrest you, they will not talk to you. They will impound you and go. He was invited. He went there himself with his phone. He posted on social media, I've honored the arrest, what. And then he left. They asked him questions and then he left. I don't think that is arrest in the dictionary. And I don't think they did that to witch hunt him or any other person. You just go and post what you don't know. And when they ask you, you have no evidence, no answer. If I had taken it to court, I would have found him because he has no evidence to defend whatever it is he might have mentioned. But I didn't pay attention to it. Sometimes people just want you to give them relevance. So I didn't pay attention. But up to this moment, the talk in some part of opposition town is I arrested somebody that went to the civil defense with his legs and go back with his leg. So
thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.